The unwanted invitation. The Galactic Council chamber hummed with tension. Representatives from over 100 species convened, their holographic forms flickering above the circular dais. At the center stood Grand Arbiter Zalven, his bioluminescent skin dimming, a sign of unease. "The humans have achieved FTL," Zalven announced, "and they expand without regard for our laws." A murmur rippled through the assembly. The Council had long maintained order by assimilating new species before they could become threats. Peace had endured for millennia because no civilization had ever resisted. But humanity was different. They were aggressive, unpredictable, and worst of all, entirely unregulated. "We must extend them an offer," intoned High Chancellor Vrex, a reptilian diplomat from the hegemony of Ruin. "Integration or containment. They will comply, as all others have before them." And so, an envoy was dispatched. First contact. The human representatives gathered in the sterile confines of a council diplomatic vessel, far from Earth. The delegation consisted of politicians, military officers, and scientists, each tense but outwardly composed. Across from them, the alien diplomats watched with calculated interest. Zalven's voice was smooth, measured. "Humans of soul, your world now stands at the threshold of the galactic community. We offer you peace, prosperity, and guidance." He gestured to a floating hollow display showing the structured order of the Council's dominion. "In exchange, you will submit to our laws. Your military will be dismantled. Your expansion will be controlled. This is our way." The room was silent for a long moment. Then, General Adrian Kovac, representing Earth's United Defense Force, leaned forward. "You're asking us to give up our sovereignty." "It is not a request," Zalven said, his tone colder now. "It is the natural course of all species who seek entry into the greater order." Secretary of State Linda Graves exhaled sharply. "And if we refuse?" Zalven hesitated. "Then we will be forced to contain you." Kovac chuckled darkly. "Contain us? I don't think you understand what you're dealing with." "The mistake." The reunion security officer, standing behind Zalven, stiffened. To him, the general's relaxed posture, the slow movement of his hand toward his belt, was a sign of aggression, a universal sign among his people. Without hesitation, the alien soldier raised his weapon and fired. A searing energy bolt lanced toward Kovac. The general moved faster than any of the aliens expected. The bolt grazed his shoulder as he dove aside. Before the council guards could react, the room exploded with violence. The human security team opened fire, their kinetic weapons punching through alien shields with brutal efficiency. Within seconds, the council delegation was dead, their blood staining the pristine floor. One ship managed to escape, fleeing into the void. Aboard it, a horrified aide sent a single, urgent message. "The humans are hostile. Prepare for war." The war they didn't expect. The Galactic Council had never fought a real war. For thousands of years, diplomacy and economic pressure had been enough to bring rebellious species into compliance. Even the few civilizations that resisted were swiftly overwhelmed by superior council technology and sheer numbers. No species had ever defied them for long. The council believed humanity would be no different. The first strike. A month after the failed negotiations, the containment fleet arrived. 500 warships, each the pride of the Council's vast armada, formed an iron blockade around the Sol system. Their commanders expected Earth to surrender within weeks, their infrastructure crushed under economic isolation and precision strikes. Then, the first fleet vanished. The Council's admirals were baffled. A task force sent to secure Mars lost contact shortly after arrival. Surveillance drones recovered only debris, shattered hulls, and drifting bodies. There were no distress signals, no survivors, no warnings. Humanity had struck first. A new kind of war. The Council had always fought with honor, preferring large-scale, decisive engagements where their superior firepower ensured quick victories. Humanity fought differently. They attacked from the darkness of space, using stealth ships and electronic warfare to jam communications before striking. They deployed mass drivers, primitive but devastating weapons that turned asteroids into kinetic bombs. Council ships, designed for intimidation rather than war, crumpled under relentless human assaults. One by one, entire fleets vanished. The horror of humanity. Admiral Ralvok of the Zirian Dominion sat in silence as he watched intercepted footage from a lost battle over Titan. The humans didn't fight like any species he had encountered. They used deception, drawing ships into ambushes. They sacrificed entire squadrons to eliminate command ships. Their soldiers were relentless, advancing even when wounded, killing without hesitation. And worse, they adapted. In just weeks, human engineers had reverse-engineered Council shielding. They turned captured energy weapons against their makers. They mass-produced warships faster than any race in known history. Ralvok turned to his subordinate, his scaled face pale. They aren't just surviving. His voice wavered. They're winning. Panic in the Council. Word spread across the galaxy. The containment fleet was in shambles, its remnants retreating to regroup. Worlds under Council rule began whispering of rebellion. For the first time in millennia, the Galactic Council faced the unthinkable defeat. The ruling body met in emergency session. High Chancellor Vrex slammed his clawed fist against the table. We must crush them now. Deploy the full armada. But the cost, another protested. They will not stop. Vrex roared. If we do not end them, they will end us. The Council had underestimated humanity. Now, they would make the same mistake again. They would escalate, and humanity would only escalate further. Earth under siege. The sky burned. Alien warships descended through the upper atmosphere, their energy cannons cutting through Earth's defenses with ruthless precision. Council forces had regrouped, bringing an armada unlike anything humanity had faced before. Thousands of ships formed a blockade around the planet, launching relentless orbital strikes against military installations, power grids, and supply routes. This was no longer a containment mission. This was extermination. The fall of cities. Washington, D.C. fell within hours, reduced to smoldering ruins. Beijing, Moscow, and Berlin followed soon after. The Council expected humanity to break, to surrender as other species had done before them. But they had learned nothing. Humanity did not break. Humanity adapted. As the Council fleet bombarded the planet, entire cities went dark, not from destruction, but by choice. The world's governments had anticipated this, shifting to decentralized command structures and hidden military bases deep underground. The Council targeted what they thought were key locations, but human forces had already evacuated, slipping away like ghosts. Then, the counterattacks began. Guerrilla warfare on a planetary scale. Council soldiers, tall and lanky in their polished armor, marched confidently through the ruins of New York. Their helmets scanned for signs of resistance, their battle formations perfected through centuries of conquest. Then the buildings exploded. Humans fought from the shadows, using homegrown weaponry and scavenged alien tech. They lured enemy patrols into ambushes, rigged entire skyscrapers to collapse onto advancing forces, and deployed EMP bursts that rendered Council energy weapons useless. Council commanders were horrified. No species had ever fought back this way. The humans fought without fear, without hesitation. They weaponized desperation itself. The turning point. On the outskirts of what was once Tokyo, a battered human general stood before a captured alien transmission hub. His name was Adrian Kovac, the same man who had been at the first negotiations. His uniform was torn, his body bruised, but his eyes burned with determination. "Broadcast is live, sir," a technician said. Kovac nodded. He stepped forward and spoke. "To the citizens of the Galactic Council, you are losing this war. You invaded our home. You destroyed our cities. You slaughtered our people. And yet, we are still here. Your leaders tell you we are monsters. But we did not start this war. You did. And now, we will finish it." The message spread across Council-controlled space. Species who had lived in fear of the Council for centuries saw, for the first time, a force that refused to kneel. Some began to question their allegiance. Others prepared for open rebellion. The council, desperate and afraid, made one final, fateful decision. They would do what no other species had dared before. They would burn Earth to the ground. Humanity's galactic arrival. The order was given. The Council's last resort, a planetary annihilation fleet. Hundreds of dreadnought-class warships, each equipped with planet-cracking weapons, gathered above Earth. If they couldn't defeat humanity, they would erase it. The Council broadcasted their final ultimatum. Surrender, or we will turn your world to ash. Earth's response was simple. Come and try. The last battle. Humanity knew they couldn't outmatch the Council in sheer firepower. But they didn't need to. They only needed to win once. As the Annihilation Fleet moved into position, Earth's final defense force made its move. Every surviving warship launched from hidden hangars beneath the planet's surface. Fleets of stolen, retrofitted Council vessels joined them, piloted by desperate but determined crews. The sky was filled with fire. But that wasn't humanity's real plan. While the battle raged above, a single ship, a prototype stealth cruiser, executed the most daring mission in human history. Its destination, the heart of the Galactic Council's homeworld. The death of the Council. Deep in the heart of the galaxy, the Council convened, confident in their impending victory. Their fleets were engaged, but the destruction of Earth was inevitable. Then the alarms blared. The stealth cruiser, having slipped past their defenses using Council cloaking technology, burst into the Council chamber itself. Doors were blown open, and heavily armed human operatives stormed inside. Zalvin, the Grand Arbiter, stood frozen as a human soldier leveled a weapon at his chest. "You," Zalvin whispered. "You would dare?" "Your mistake," the soldier growled, "was thinking we wouldn't." A single shot ended millennia of rule. The Council was leaderless. Their chains of command shattered. The Annihilation Fleet orbiting Earth received conflicting orders. Some ships, realizing what had happened, abandoned the fight. Others, now leaderless and in chaos, were destroyed by human forces. A new galactic order. The war was over. But unlike the Council, humanity had no desire to rule an empire. From the Council's shattered remains, a new order emerged. Not one built on fear, but on strength. Many oppressed species, once cowed by the Council, now found hope in humanity's defiance. Rebellions ignited across the galaxy. Some saw humans as saviors. Others feared them as conquerors. Earth stood victorious, not just as survivors, but as equals among the stars. The final broadcast. Adrian Kovac stood before a camera, his face still marked by battle. His voice was calm, unwavering. To the galaxy, hear this. We are not your rulers. We are not your slaves. We are humanity, and we will never kneel. You try to destroy us. You failed. If you seek war, we will meet you in battle. If you seek peace, we will stand beside you. But never again will we be told what we can and cannot be. The broadcast ended. The galaxy would never be the same.